station head can stretch the rear headband to put the headset on, and then turn the crank to tighten it to your liking. But lenses have changed a lot. A feature that every VR headset should have. First, PSVR2 now supports side tracking and IPD adjustment, and I am happy to report that Sony has created an easy calibration in the headphones that helps users set the ideal IPD and even ensure that the headphones are positioned correctly on the head. When you run PSVR2 calibration, you will see a cartoon head with eye holes in front of you. In the holes are blue circles that represent your real eyes. Your goal is to adjust the headset either how it sits on your head or by turning the IPD knob so that the blue circles are in the center of the holes. Once you're close enough, the holes will glow green to tell you everything's okay. This is a huge quality of life improvement, not only over the original PSVR, but over most VR headsets on the market. While many headsets have manual IPD adjustment, few people know their specific IPD, measured in millimeters, or do they know how to look for uneven chromatic aberration as a sign of misalignment, leaving most to just fly and try to adjust. Align the lenses to their eyes by look and feel. With the PSVR2, you don't need to know your IPD, as the calibration step will automatically guide you to the ideal lens to eye alignment, helping more people get the best image as clear as possible with headphones. It's a feature every VR headset should have. Game space pass-through and configuration. Another nice quality of life improvement in PSVR2 is video pass-through, which lets you use the headset cameras to not only look at the real world, but also to easily define the boundaries of your play area. The pass-through video view has a significantly higher resolution on PSVR2 than Quest 2. Though it's still black and white and nowhere near maximizing the resolution of the headset screen. PSVR2 PlaySpace setup process is very similar to Quest 2. You can draw an outline inside your headset to define your boundary. Additionally, the headset scans the space around you to make an initial suggestion for your play space, which you can then expand or refine as you see fit. Screen and lenses. So once you've calibrated the headset and defined your play area, what does it actually look like? Well, on the one hand, it's a bit clearer than the original PSVR thanks to the resolution jump from 960 x 1081.0 MP per eye to 2000 x 2044.1 MP. The screen door effect is functionally invisible, although a noticeable amount of Mura inconsistency in brightness and color from pixel to pixel affects clarity to some degree. Mura often performs worse than LCD on OLED screens like the one in PSVR2, but for that trade-off you get much better contrast, bringing rich darkness and deep colors. The world really emerges in dynamic games like Horizon Call of the Mountain. While Sony says the PSVR2 will have HDR display, a pretty loosely defined term, they haven't specified the maximum brightness of the headset. During my time with it, there weren't many moments where I felt HDR made an obvious difference. This HDR level may look more like extended contrast compared to high-end HDR-capable TVs and phones, where the effect is clearly visible. While generally quite sharp, I did notice on PSVR2 what appeared to be quite a bit of persistent blurriness, making the world appear slightly blurry when you turn your head. This may have seemed like an issue with the low screen persistence feature, which most VR headsets use to combat this issue. Assuming I'm right that this is a persistence issue, and I could very well be wrong, it's not clear to me if flow persistence isn't enabled at all, hasn't been fully optimized yet, or perhaps is already optimized, but that's just a fundamental limitation of the display. Sony declined to comment on the matter for now. Also, in terms of brightness, I'm cautiously impressed with the Fresnel lenses on PSVR2. Most headsets with Fresnel lenses suffer from fairly noticeable glare and God rays, but they looked quite muted, though not completely invisible, on the PSVR2 compared to modern headsets. As I was rushed through various demos, I didn't find the perfect test scene to reveal God rays. But as I said, I'm impressed with the levels I saw during nominal play. Fingers crossed that Sony has developed special lenses that really make a difference. Another good thing about the PSVR2 lenses, the field of view seems noticeably larger than the original PSVR. Sony claims 110 compared to the original 100. It's a nice little boost, though it won't affect or harm your experience. A new dimension of VR haptics, and you might forget about another new feature until you hear it. PSVR2 is probably the first on the market to feature head haptics. This gives developers the ability to mess around a bit to communicate game effects, stick, buttons, grip button, and trigger on every controller. VR games no longer have to create PSVR-specific abstract control schemes, and developers can count on every PSVR2 user to have a pair of easier to hold for holding virtual objects. I haven't had any major issues with the grip buttons on PlayStation VR2 controllers so far, but it can be a bit annoying for games where players have to hold the same item for long periods of time. The controllers also feature the same responsive triggers found on the PC controller, plus the rumble in the controller handles, for both reactive triggers and handling haptics. I didn't feel like either was implemented particularly well from the DMOS ISO. I just didn't notice much of them. My best guess is that this isn't an issue with the haptics, but that developers just need more time to get to grips with the haptics specific in performance tracking compared to the first PSVR headset. And while we're at it, let's talk about eye tracking on PSVR2, which also supports foveated rendering. It wasn't clear to me if all the DMOS ISO used foveated rendering, but I barely noticed it when playing the VR version of Resident Evil Village. It's fast and subtle enough that I think most people can't tell that foveal rendering is in progress, although this can significantly depend on the accuracy of the headset's eye tracking calibration. I was the only one using the headset during my DMOS, but if I gave it to someone else, they would have to do their own eye tracking calibration, which takes maybe 20 seconds to get the best results. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen from PSVR2, both in terms of features and performance. There are a few tweaks I'd like to see before launch, but I have no doubt that PSVR2 combined with the power of the PC will be a real generational step forward for VR on PlayStation, as it offers some lessons for the rest of the VR headset market. The only big question left is what Sony will charge for PlayStation VR2. Have more questions about PSVR2? Drop a line in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and support my channel.